Imagine a place so breathtakingly beautiful it's called paradise on earth. Towering, snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas cradle a lush green valley, dotted with pristine lakes and serene houseboats. This is Kashmir. But behind this postcard-perfect scenery lies one of the most complex and long-standing geopolitical disputes in the world. For over 70 years, this region has been at the heart of conflict. A place often described as the most perilous frontline in South Asia, how did this paradise become a flashpoint? And what does the future hold for the people who call it home? Today, we're going to journey into the heart of the Kashmir Valley to understand its history, its people, and the intricate web of politics that defines it. This isn't just a story about borders and battles. It's a story about identity, culture, and the enduring hope for peace. To truly grasp the situation in Kashmir, we have to travel back in time, to 1947. The British Empire was withdrawing from the Indian subcontinent, leaving behind two newly independent nations, India, with a Hindu majority, and Pakistan, with a Muslim majority. The princely states, hundreds of semi-autonomous territories, were given a choice: join India, join Pakistan, or, in theory, remain independent. Kashmir was one of these states. It had a unique demographic, a majority Muslim population ruled by a Hindu monarch. Maharaja Hari Singh, the Maharaja, caught between two powerful new nations, initially hesitated, dreaming of an independent Kashmir, Switzerland of the East. However, this dream was short-lived. In October 1947, tribal militias, supported by Pakistan, invaded Kashmir, aiming to secure it for the new Muslim state. Faced with the advancing forces, a desperate Maharaja Hari Singh turned to India for military assistance. India agreed to help, but on one condition: Kashmir must formally accede to India. The Maharaja signed the instrument of accession, and Indian troops were airlifted into Srinagar, the capital, halting the advance. This act of accession is the very core of the dispute. India regards it as a legally binding agreement, making Kashmir an integral part of the country. Pakistan, however, challenges its legitimacy, arguing it was made under duress and against the will of the Kashmiri people. This led to the First India-Pakistan War. The war ended in 1949 with a unbrokered ceasefire, establishing what is known as the Line of Control, or LOC. This line, a de facto border, divided Kashmir. India was left in control of about two-thirds of the territory, including the populous Kashmir Valley, Jammu, and Ladakh. Pakistan controlled the remaining third, which it calls Azad Kashmir, or Free Kashmir, and the northern region of Gilgit-Baltistan. The UN also passed resolutions calling for a plebiscite, direct vote by the Kashmiri people to decide their own future. However, due to disagreements over troop withdrawal and demilitarization, this vote never happened, leaving the fate of Kashmir in limbo. So, what is life actually like for the people living in the shadow of this conflict? The Indian-administered region was granted special status under Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. This article gave Jammu and Kashmir significant autonomy, its own constitution, its own flag, and the power to make its own laws, except in matters of defense, foreign affairs, and communications. This unique status was intended to preserve the distinct identity of the region. For decades, life in the valley ebbed and flowed. Periods of relative calm saw tourism flourish, with visitors from around the world flocking to see the stunning Dal Lake and the Mughal gardens. The local economy, heavily reliant on agriculture, handicrafts like the famous pashmina shawls, and tourism, would thrive. But the undercurrent of political uncertainty never truly went away. The unresolved promise of a plebiscite and the heavy military presence on both sides of the LOC created a persistent sense of tension. This simmering discontent would eventually boil over. The late 1980s marked a dark and transformative turning point. A wave of insurgency swept across the Kashmir Valley. Frustration over what was perceived as rigged state elections and a growing sense of political alienation fueled a movement demanding either independence or a merger with Pakistan. This armed struggle changed the very fabric of Kashmiri society. The conflict also had a tragic impact on the region's minority communities. most notably the Kashmiri Pundits, a Hindu community that had lived in the valley for centuries. Facing threats and targeted violence at the height of the insurgency in 1990, the vast majority of the Pundit population fled their homes, becoming refugees in their own country. Their exodus remains a deep wound in the collective memory of Kashmir, a poignant symbol of the paradise that was lost to communal strife and violence. The valley, once a symbol of syncretic culture, became a battleground, caught between the militants, the Indian security forces, and the aspirations of its own people. For the next 3 decades, Kashmir existed in a state of turmoil. The Indian government deployed a large number of troops to combat the insurgency, leading to a heavily militarized environment. The line of control became one of the most fortified frontiers on the planet, with frequent skirmishes and artillery duels between Indian and Pakistani soldiers. For ordinary Kashmiris, life became a daily struggle for normalcy. Security checkpoints, curfews, and internet shutdowns became recurring features of life. Despite the challenging circumstances, the spirit of the Kashmiri people endured. They continued to pursue education, run businesses, and celebrate their rich cultural traditions. Young artists, poets, and musicians used their craft to express the complexities of their existence, sharing their stories of pain, resilience, and hope with the world. The desire for a peaceful, stable life became the universal prayer on everyone's lips, a prayer that echoed through the valleys and mountains of this troubled land. Then, in August 2019, the story of Kashmir took another dramatic turn. The Indian government made a monumental decision. It revoked Article 370, stripping Jammu and Kashmir of its special autonomous status. Simultaneously, the state was bifurcated into 2 union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The government argued that this move was necessary to fully integrate the region with the rest of India, promote economic development, and end the long-standing conflict. To prevent unrest, a massive security lockdown was imposed. Political leaders were detained, and communication lines, including internet and phone services, were completely severed for months. This decision was met with deeply divided reactions. Supporters celebrated it as a bold and necessary step towards one nation, one constitution, believing it would usher in a new era of peace and prosperity. They pointed to the potential for new investment and development that was previously restricted. However, for many Kashmiris and critics of the move, the revocation of Article 370 was seen as a betrayal. They felt it was an assault on their unique identity and a decision made without their consent, further alienating a population that already felt marginalized. They worried that removing protections on land ownership would lead to demographic changes, altering the character of the Muslim-majority valley. The move was also strongly condemned by Pakistan, which called it an illegal act and escalated the issue on international forums, further straining relations between the 2 nuclear-armed neighbors. The world watched with bated breath, as the decision reshaped the political map of South Asia and opened a new, uncertain chapter in the long and complex history of Kashmir. So where does Kashmir stand today, and what does the future hold? Since 2019, the Indian government has focused on bringing development and normalcy to the region. It highlights increased tourism, infrastructure projects, and a decrease in major violent incidents as signs of progress. The government's narrative is one of integration and opportunity, hoping that economic growth will eventually pave the way for lasting peace. However, a sense of unease and political uncertainty still lingers among many in the valley. While the streets may be calmer, the underlying political questions remain unanswered. The path forward is incredibly complex. Any lasting solution will need to do more than just manage security. It will need to address the aspirations of the Kashmiri people, build trust, and create avenues for genuine political dialogue. It requires finding a delicate balance between national security, regional aspirations, and human rights. The story of Kashmir is not just a headline about a territorial dispute. It is the story of millions of people living in one of the most beautiful yet volatile places on Earth. It's a story of incredible resilience in the face of decades of conflict. The future of this paradise on Earth depends on the wisdom and empathy of leaders and the unbreakable spirit of its people. Finding a path to sustainable peace is not just a regional necessity. It is a global imperative. The world needs a peaceful Kashmir, not as a front line, but as a bridge of understanding and a testament to humanity's ability to resolve even the most intractable of conflicts. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the complex story of Kashmir. It's a topic with a lot of history and nuance, and we've only scratched the surface. If you found this video informative and want to learn more about important global issues, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content like this. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.